Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg is happening. Who's actually going to win this fight? Well, before we talk about who's going to win this fight, let's take a look at their latest performances, in which Alexandre Pantoja fought Brandon Moreno, in which Alexandre dropped Brandon Moreno in round 1. Both of the wrestling and grappling was great. Both went back and forth. Both had some great shots, but Alexandre ended up taking it by decision.
And
At this, Alexandre went on to fight Brandon Royval, in which both of their striking was great, but Alexandre ended up outlanding Brandon Royval and ended up taking it by decision.
And still!
Now let's take a look at Steve Erceg's latest performances, in which he fought Alexandre Costa, in which Steve Erceg's striking and power was way too much for Alexandre and ended up taking it by decision. Now at this, Steve went on to fight Matt Schnell, in which Steve rocked Matt in round 1.
Ooh, little stumble there.
Oh!
And then knocked him out in round 2.
In the pocket, that's where he's going to have this.
That'll do it.
Now, before I talk about how I think this fight's going to go, let me start off by saying that I don't understand what was the UFC's intention with putting this fight together, because usually when you have a title fight, you have the title holder defending his title against somebody who has worked their way up and who has a solid resume. But when you look at Steve Erceg, he doesn't have that, because he made his UFC debut last year, only has 3 fights in the UFC, and that fight against Matt Schnell is a fight that got him into the top 10. So I don't understand why they wouldn't get the title fight against someone like Muhammad Mokaev, who has shown to be a very dangerous opponent and who has shown to be deserving of a title fight. So when talking about how the fight's going to go, you would say that Alexandre Pantoja should have the upper hand, since he does have the high level experience over Steve Erceg. But at the same time, Steve Erceg is on an 11-fight winning streak and Alexandre Pantoja is on a 5-fight winning streak. But at the same time, again, you could argue that Alexandre Pantoja has tougher opponents and bigger names on that winning streak, which probably can explain why Steve Erceg has been able to hold that winning streak for so long. But in the end, if it comes to striking, I think it'll be a very close fight, both men going back and forth. And when it comes to going to the ground, again, it'll be a very close fight, because Alexandre Pantoja is really good when it comes to grappling, but again, Steve Erceg has shown to be hard to take down, and when taken down, he still manages to gain the upper hand. So anyways, I would like to see Steve Erceg pull the upset.